Tonight we're going to 19 Macmillan Drive, Oshawa. Take a guess where that is.
Canada?
No, it's pronounced Oshawa. I'm just kidding. It's not pronounced like that. All right. Yeah, it's in Ontario.
Nailed it.
All right, so here's where we're going to tonight. Stupid. We're going to 19 Macmillan Drive. This doesn't look right. Are you sure this is it?
No, I'm not sure. You're the one in charge of Google Maps.
This is it right here. This is the house right here. Wait, no, this one up here. That's it. That is it.
Just so you know, this is exactly what it's like to drive with John in real life.
What do you mean?
Where do I go? Left? Right? Tell me where I'm supposed to go.
Now, this is a home.
Indeed it is. Thanks. Thank you, John, for your detective skills.
This is a home, yet it is also an apartment, upstairs tenants and downstairs tenants. I'm not sure how many, and a basement tenant too. But the woman who owns this was not happy when this story came out. I can promise you that. I can show an interview with the property owner, little sweet old lady that has saved up her money to buy this house, and then
this happens. Whatever this is,
you have got to go through a management company, man.
Yeah,
you got to do background checks and shit. I don't think anyone knows the story.
But Jen requested it, you said, right?
Yeah, she found it on TikTok.
She's going to be fucking pissed she missed this.
What do you mean do, man? I ain't got time.
I'm just saying, she's gonna be like, I know exactly what she's going to say.
What?
The one time you actually do a story that I requested, I'm not here.
I've done her stories before. The Brian Coey Jr. story was hers.
No, that was actually my coworker's request.
Oh, was it? Oh, good for her. In my notes, I had something I was going to do, but now I kind of spoiled it by going to Canada. So I'm just going to do it anyway and put it in the first of the episode and just try to make it sound like, like what? Okay. All right. This story, I'm just going to say tonight we're going to September 11th.
How was that? Was that good?
September 11th, 2017.
Oh.
Two fishermen in the Oshawa harbor, they come across a trunk.
What's in the trunk?
Nothing, because it's actually another word for torso. That's fucked up. That is fucked up.
Oh my God.
They are fishing in the Oshawa harbor, and they come across a floating, what they thought at first, if you hear them say it, they thought it was a body, and it was a body, but they thought the arms were in the water, the feet were in the water, and it was just, all they could see is the back. What they quickly found out is it was just the back, just the torso. The limbs and the head had been completely removed. Jack the Ripper style, right there, or Jack the Ripper, the torso murders, not specifically, the torso was the only thing that remained. The arms and legs intentionally severed off, just the trunk remained, and forensics would show that these remains were dropped off on September 4th, put in the Oshawa harbor. That was September 11th, 2017. The woman was identified. However, she wasn't identified until the next event where we're going. But this is the woman that was identified right here. Can you describe this lady?
Looks like maybe a teenager, right? It's hard to tell these days. Blonde, and in front of her face is a cell phone. So
yeah,
taking a selfie. Yeah, herself.
I went through her Facebook actually. That is the woman who was found. Her name is Rori Hache, Rori Hache. She goes by Hash Brown, at least on her Facebook. So this is her Facebook right here. The last post she made was, can someone hit the beer store for me real quick? She is, at the time that she wrote this, a teenager. And you see everyone's saying that they're sorry that she passed. But that was her that was found in the harbor. Now, go back to the house that we first started in Google. We're going to go there. December 17th, 2017. A call comes in from a plumber. This guy's name is Jeremiah Wildeboer. Call comes in, and luckily we have that call, so I'm going to actually play it. All right, here we go. This is a 911 call. Go to talkmurder.com. I probably won't have it on there, but...
Communications.
Hi there, how are you?
Good, you? Good, thanks. I'm a plumber, and I'm on site for a job, and we're snaking a drain, and we've been pulling back. We probably pulled back about 10 pounds, 15 pounds of it looks like flesh type of stuff, meat.
We're snaking a drain, the plumber says, and we're probably pulling back 10 to 15 pounds of, it looks like flesh, meat, maybe. Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
So that was the call that came in. 2 plumbers are at that house that I showed you, 19 Macmillan.
Why do people think flushing body parts down toilets is a good idea? You know? This is not the first time that this has happened that we've covered. Remember?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Was it Cottingham?
No, it wasn't Cottingham. It was
the British Dahmer, right?
Yeah, but his name wasn't Cottingham.
All right. Well,
you don't
Nielsen. Dennis Nielsen.
No.
Am I not correct?
A 911 call comes in from a plumber, Jeremiah Wildeboer. He calls along with a colleague, and you heard him right there. He said that they're pulling out about 10 to 15 pounds of fleshy meat.
Ew.
Pounds. Now, that torso that we talked about when we first started, what do you think is in the drain that they're pulling out, that they're snaking out?
Specifically? Like what body part?
It's the rest of the body.
Well, I was going to say like maybe a leg. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all jumbled up there. Whatever they're pulling out of the drain, that meaty flesh, is the other part of the torso that was found only 3 months before. So now those two events are linked up, and police, they get this call. They go to the house, and the reason that the plumbers were there to begin with is because the landlord had called them because the upstairs tenants were having plumbing issues, and it was coming from the downstairs tenant because his drains were clogged. So the plumbers first go upstairs with their snake and equipment and can't drain it from the upstairs. So then they go into the lower floor tenant's home, and then that's when they start pulling out all the flesh. Can you read what the plumber testified in court?
Wildeboer was called to snake the drains after complaints from upstairs tenants. The plumbers started their work in the basement. He testified the accused was annoying, hovering over him and his colleague, constantly asking the men questions in regards to how and what they thought the blockage was and how long they would be there.
At the same time, 4 officers come to the house. Now, yeah, it's weird to pull meat out of a drain, but this guy could also be a hunter because the plumber, Jeremiah Wildeboer, when he is snaking the drain and pulling that meat out, he recognizes that it is meat of some sort because he, in fact, is a hunter, and he's seen that before.
He's seen meat in drains before?
Exactly. So, but however, this looked particularly different because of the human hair that was attached to it.
Oh, no.
So he actually called his boss, and his boss told him and his colleague to pack up their tools, tell the man, hey,
we got to get some more tools.
We got to get some more tools. We'll be here first thing in the morning, and then leave and then call the cops. So that's what they did. Now the cops arrive. They have really no idea what they're about to find. It could just be animal meat, whatever. They certainly didn't know they were going to arrest anyone. And the officer that showed up at the door, his name was Officer Kevin Park. He knocks on that door, and the tenant comes out, and he simply asks about the plumbing. Hey, we got a call from some plumbers. I'm just going to do just a little check. Can you tell me, what was in the drain?
Smart.
He has no idea that he was going to arrest this man, but this is what Officer Park testified when the tenant first opened the door, introduced himself, and then this officer asked about the drain.
Officer Park testified. At first, he kind of sighed and dropped his head. He said, "Okay, you got me. The gig is up. I want to spill the beans. It's a body."
So this officer is taken aback because he didn't even think he was going to arrest anyone. He was just asking a question, and this guy literally just says, "Well, you got me." It's like, "How are you, officer?" "Well, you got me. The gig is up. I want to spill the beans. It's a body."
I feel like it's a Canada thing, right? Because did you notice at the beginning of that 911 call, he was like, "Hi, how are you?" Did you notice that?
They're so nice.
The ultimate fucking politeness right there. Oh my gosh, that made me laugh, actually.
He then goes to say, now this officer's like stunned. Like, I literally just asked what your name was. You know, I didn't even ask about the plumbing yet. And you just said it's a body. I mean, I could have just been asking about something totally unrelated.
Right.
So
oh my gosh.
Then he volunteers the information right after that. He says, quote, "If you want to recover the rest of her, she's in my freezer. She's buried and defleshed."
Ew.
And that the rest of her is Rori Hache, who we see here. That's her. Let's talk a little bit more about the plumbing situation right quick.
Yes, let's.
But first, I want to show you the video of the apartment. And can you kind of describe what you're seeing here with this apartment?
There's shit everywhere. Unmade bed, clothes everywhere. I mean, looks like a bomb went off in there.
Yeah, this is the landlord.
I don't know if it's dirty, but it's definitely messy.
Oh, it's super messy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, let's see if there's, look at that.
Ew. Okay, yeah, it is. It's also dirty.
Yeah.
It is also very dirty.
Very dirty. This is what she says. This is Eugenie Papadakis. This is the landlord and the homeowner. She says, quote, "When I see all the disaster he had done to the basement, I was very hurt. I worked very hard to find a house. No one gave it to me. I feel terrible for you."
Sad.
She looks like such a sweet woman. And for someone to completely screw it up like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing, like, she can fix the drain, right? But he also screwed up the whole apartment. I mean, look at this. It's just shit everywhere.
Yeah. Like, seriously.
You know?
Everywhere.
I'm surprised they couldn't smell all the trash and stuff. This is what the plumber says. He says, quote, "We were more in denial. I hunt, so I started recognizing the buildup coming out." He then says, Adam Strong, the tenant, says, "That's gross. What is that?" And then that's when he calls his boss. So what do you think so far? Kind of crazy.
It is seriously crazy.
Now, this is the officer. He just got the tenant in handcuffs.
Outside the home, the plumber showed Park a shopping bag with what he described as a fleshy-like substance, maybe 13 to 14 inches long. "I'd never seen anything like this before, so I wasn't sure," the Durham Regional Police officer testified. The plumber said the pair removed substance that was pink and coming out with strips of hair on it. The witness told the court as they were recovering the substance, Strong made several comments, including, "That's so gross. What is that?" in addition to how it got there.
Jesus Christ. 13 to 14 inches long, strips of flesh with hair on it. Oh. And he says, "If you want to recover the rest of her, she's in my freezer." So, and that wasn't even the torso, because obviously I told you where the torso was. It was in the lake. So let's talk about the victim right quick. Rori Hache, 18 years old. When I showed you her Facebook, she was, I want to say 16 maybe.
Okay.
Missing since the summer of 2017. She was at 18 already selling her body for crystal meth, which is fucking terrible. When I think of Canada, I don't think of that, but I guess it is everywhere. So she had a crystal meth addiction. She began selling her body. In fact, it's really kind of sad because I had read one of the officers who first saw Rori in a bad part of the neighborhood. She was twirling on a light pole, you know, just kind of like doing the Sound of Music thing or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, the officer pulls up and Rori tells the officer that she's high on crack and methamphetamine. And the officer takes her in, not to prison, but puts her like in a substance abuse program and has been trying to get her on the right track. And the officer is in the story. It's a different one than who is at the house, but he took it personally because he was trying to help her.
Sad.
And he was really close to making a breakthrough too. And then she, as I showed you on her Facebook, actually let me show you right quick, because I'm not 100% this is what it means, but I was looking through her Facebook, right? And you see down here, she uses this word, ush, and she is addicted to crystal meth. I wonder, and she uses that a lot through here, right? Who needs ush? Well, what is that? Is that crystal meth? I mean, I probably sound like an idiot, but you know, this is her.
Know.
She was really close to overcoming her addiction, but it was just that one person who she went to hang out with, to get high with, who was on the internet posting his picture saying he does drugs and all this stuff, who did this. And I'll tell you exactly how he did it here in a second, but Anyway, moving on. She was 18. She would do anything for that next fix. What's even more sad about this story is her aunt had picked her up one day. The aunt knew that her niece was suffering from this drug addiction and started selling her body. She picked her up one day, and Rori was moving around from house to house. She was in a bad state type of thing.
Yeah.
The aunt picked her up just to have a girl's date, and to talk to her. They stopped by the dollar store. She got her a pregnancy test, and it came back positive. Ooh. So not only was there a torso in the harbor, it was also a pregnant torso. She was pregnant. Just to really just ruin your night. That's kind of what I wanted to do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. I will never see her fall in love, graduate school, be married, and have children, Rory's mother, Shannon Dion said. This monster took my angel and mutilated her. He tried to hide the evidence of what he had done.
This is the tenant right here. His name is Adam Strong. You see what he's got. A huge old...
What is that?
Huge knife. It's for field dressing a deer.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's like a field dressing knife, but it's huge. And this would actually be the murder weapon. Now, when they took this from his home and another knife, I'll show you, it was like a knife that had finger cuffs on it. You know what finger cuffs where you can bind someone up? Yeah. So...
I was thinking like a Chinese.
No.
Right?
No. Finger cuff, like finger handcuffs. Like, remember Richard Ramirez used them, put them on there? They bind just your fingers.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I thought of the Chinese finger trap then too.
I think you did too. Anyway, they found that.
Finger handcuffs. I don't understand. The tips of my fingers are narrower than the base of my fingers. How does that work?
So they found that and took those knives plus some samples of the ceiling and some of the walls where there was some blood splatter. They took those samples and not only matched it to Rori, but also matched it to a girl who went missing in 2008, nearly 10 years ago, that went missing. She was in the same vicious cycle of drugs and prostitution. This is her right here. So another woman who went missing in 2008,
Jesus.
Which was, 10 years ago. So it kind of makes me think if this is the only two he's done.
Maybe.
But that girl's name is Kandis Fitzpatrick. They did not know where her body was. They eventually found it because he confessed to where the body was, but only after he was sentenced. But so the body has been found. He has brought investigators to it. And surprisingly, it was all intact. It was skeletal remains, but it wasn't drug off by any animals or anything.
Wow.
So surprisingly on that.
Super crazy.
In the home, which you saw was in complete disarray, they found human blood splatter spots on the bedroom walls and ceiling. Inside a large freezer that was inside the killer's bedroom, pushed up right next to his bed, was a freezer with the remains of Rori Hache in it. Now, this included her head, her arms, and her 2 legs.
Jesus. Crazy.
So, how did he find her? Well, she's posting this stuff right there and on other social media sources too, like who has this, and that's where he's looking, and he says, yeah, I have it.
Yep.
So
he lures her.
Yeah, with that. And that's how he did the other girl too, although he doesn't actually remember how he met the first girl, which also makes me think that there's more than 2.
Yeah.
Anyway, in the killer's bedroom, there was a large freezer pushed up against the bed that housed her remains. Remember when he first opened the door, he says, quote, "You got me. The gig is up. I want to spill the beans. It's a body. If you want to recover the rest of her, she's in my freezer. She's buried and defleshed." So that's what they found in that freezer. the medical examiner could not list an official cause of death because, I mean, you have a torso that's
Yeah. How are you going to find how he actually killed her?
Yeah, which is kind of crazy because they still have to do an autopsy, not only on the torso,
on,
but
the parts that she has.
Exactly. So you have to do one autopsy on the torso that was found, and then another autopsy on just the legs, arms, and head. And then I wonder if they have to do a third one with it all together once they figure out it's the same person. Like, I'm not being morbid. I'm just like, because they do an autopsy because on the arms that was in the freezer, the ones that weren't stuffed down the drain, they did find bruisings and signs that she was severely tortured.
Yeah.
The body was in such a terrible state that no official cause of death could be recorded. However, her skull had 2 skull fractures in it where she was hit on the head.
Oh.
And now we know, since this guy has confessed to everything, how he would do it. He would first hit this victim on the head after, they smoked meth or whatever, hit the victim on the head, restrain her, and then torture her and obviously rape her too, torture her. And actually it's really screwed up because it goes more than that. This is from the judge, Diluca. He says that, quote, "I am satisfied that Strong repeatedly struck her in the head with a hard, blunt object. I also found she was struck in the face prior to death, which resulted in the bruising. In reaching this conclusion, I reject the suggestion that she died of a drug overdose," which is what his lawyers were trying to push, right? Wow. The murder weapon was the knife I showed you. There was also a, quote, pulley contraption used to bind and restrain them. There was something called a spreader bar, which I do remember that word from the David Parker Ray case. I want to look it up right quick, honestly. It's some sex thing. Damn it, maybe I should use your computer.
No, you should not use my computer to search these terms.
I just put a bondage spreader bar. Ew, okay, yeah, it's literally. I don't think I can show. Okay, I can show this. This is what a spreader bar is. Oh, not that. This. That's all I can show. It's like she's completely butt nude below that spreader bar. So it basically
thanks for that.
Spreads you open, I guess.
We got it. Okay. We were able to deduce that. Thank you.
It's nothing crazy, honestly. What the fuck, man? It's exactly what it sounds. See, I would be too embarrassed for all that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be, because... Dude, all right, let's say we do some kinky shit like spreader bars and swings and all kinds of shit.
Can you refrain from... I know it is a we, but can you refrain from using we?
Like whips and all these chains, right? And then like the next morning, like you come in the kitchen, I'm making breakfast and I'm just like, "Hey, how'd you sleep?" It's like you literally just put a gag in my mouth and whipped me and now you're making me toast. Like, what the fuck? Like, I couldn't look at you, man. I'd be like,
That's funny. That's pretty funny. You are a dangerous predator. You decided to feed your selfish desires. In doing so, you took 2 vulnerable lives, DeLuca said when delivering his sentence on Friday. Your moment before us is done. From here, you will go to prison. You will never be seen in public again. In time, you will be forgotten. You will neither be famous nor infamous. You will simply be gone.
Yeah, well, this is Canada, so he ain't gonna be gone for very long. I know where I stopped. So I was typing in spreader bar and I got it all mixed up. So not only did they find a pulley contraption used to bind and restrain, they also found a spreader bar. And this is crazy. So while the victim was restrained with the spreader bar and her hands was restrained, he put the victims through a, quote, bloodletting event. You know what bloodletting is? They used to do it back in the day, like in the 1500s. I mean, they did it for medical purposes. They basically bleed you out just enough so you don't die, so your body will make more new blood that's like fresh blood. Okay. Isn't that crazy?
Gross.
I'm not a liar. I genuinely am not, but I often said, things I'd lie about. No, officer, I didn't kill that woman. No, I didn't rape that girl. Those are things that are reasonable to lie about.
Those are things that are reasonable to lie about. He says, "No, officer, I didn't kill that woman. no, officer, I didn't rape that girl. He says he's not a liar, but things he would lie about is that. So he's saying like, he's already confessed and everything, but he's saying like things that I would lie about. Like, I'm telling you all the truth, but like if I was to ever get caught, which, you know, you know what I'm saying? Kind of a psychopath.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, right?
That was crazy.
That is literally the whole case on that one. Anything else you got?
Don't put flesh down the toilet.
I will say that Crown Attorney Brian Gutrin said that both girls were vulnerable, essentially homeless with no fixed address. Both girls suffered from drug issues and sometimes worked in the sex trade to help fund their drug habit, and you took advantage of them. He was sentenced to life in prison with parole option at 25 years, obviously.
Because it's Canada.
Yeah, so he'll be out in probably like 10. But anyway, he's also got a concurrent, which goes at the same time, 18-month sentence for the murder of Kandis Fitzpatrick, the first one.
Why would they make it concurrent?
Well,
you know what I mean?
It would piss me off if I was the family.
Yes.
But the reason they did that is because they didn't have a body. Once he was sentenced, then he showed where the body was, you know, type of thing.
Canada just wimps out.
Yeah, no shit, honestly.
I'm sorry.
No shit. You're right. You're right. But then again, that body would have probably never been found. It's been already 10 years, you know. Maybe it would have. I don't know. But anyway, that's that case. Kind of crazy. So he's behind bars, obviously. That was in 2021 when the actual trial happened. Oh. So he's probably served a quarter of his time already.
That's so fucked up. Canada. Get something to be known better for, you know?
Oh shit, that was a long night, man.
Yeah.
So we'll be back tomorrow for some headlines, another update, you know, but that's about it, man. Thanks for being here with us. We'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.
Kind of run this shit.